Ice Age: The Meltdown is a 2006 3D animated film and the second film of the Ice Age franchise. Now, I've already reviewed the movie, but I feel like I've missed too many things, so here's part 2 of my review. The past. I want to talk about the past of all these characters, and there's no better scene to start with than Ellie remembers. We get a real sense of a lost environment. Things happen in this movie that couldn't happen today. The environment of the original Ice Age was mostly a barren wasteland, with patches of forest, but overall covered in snow. The environment of Ice Age: The Meltdown is a lot different. It's covered in water, most of the snow has melted away, and the land is covered in pine tree forests. The change of location goes with the change in characters. At this point in the characters' lives, they're all still in a bad situation, kind of in a way. I'm glad the writers were able to intelligently write this. In the first movie, the characters found out they could only find happiness with each other. Diego's pack didn't like him, Sid's family wanted nothing to do with him, Manny was grouchy and alone. They were all outcasts in a way, and the baby connected them. And having to let go of the baby was tough on all of them. Sid ended up having a great liking in child care because of the baby, despite not being very good at it. He's also self-conscious, possibly thinking back to his old family and not wanting to be abandoned again, but also feels he has deserved some respect for once in his life. Manny still feels guilty about his family, and Diego hasn't had much to do because he's a pack animal, so previous fears have probably become even worse to him. Also, the fact he's afraid of water adds to why he didn't jump off the waterfall in the first movie. I mean, it's still dangerous even if you can't swim, but it still does add to the movie. The writers created new and organic conflicts that make sense to the characters. Shows that there really isn't a happily ever after. Stuff still happens. The characters all have a sense of realism and sadness reinforced by the dread of the coming flood, and that's why seeing Ellie's flashback scene is so powerful. We see young Ellie wandering through the snow, and we get reminded of the previous film. We get reminded of the Ice Age, of the cold and brutal landscape it is. Then she sees a tree, and if you look at it, you will realize it looks like a mammoth, which makes it sadder because you know she's going towards something familiar. We can only imagine how she got into that situation. Was it the weather that got her separated from her hurt, or was it possibly humans? When you see Crouch and Eddie show up with presumably the mom, you have a new respect for the characters. You change how you see them for the better. When Ellie steps on the footprint, calling back to an earlier scene, you know that she knows that she's a mammoth again. Manny and Ellie both have tragic backstories, and they can relate to that. The cold snow reminds us the warmth of Ice Age comes from the characters. Another scene that's also great is when Manny tells a story. Here you get to see Manny's parenting skills, how he's able to calm down the kids and is able to talk to them. Manny says, "One big happy family. That's the way it's supposed to be." To which one of the kids responds with, "Then where's your big happy family?" And Manny is reminded. The memory is fresh again. Later, he's asked about the last time he's seen another mammoth, and it was his family. The thought of loneliness and sadness hits Manny, and that's why Manny has an instant connection with Ellie. He hasn't seen another mammoth in years. Before that, when Manny gets a quiet moment to contemplate his life is really powerful, especially with the two leaves that represent his family that gently land in the water next to his reflection, while the other falling leaves symbolizes all the mammoths long gone. The thought of this situation being so drastically different from the first film, it's communicated by Sid. Remember the good old days? Which good old days? Oh, yesterday, last week, back when the trees went up and down and the ground stayed under our feet? Yep, those were the good old days. Possums were possums, and mammoths were mammoths. In the end, it all comes down to Sid, the subconscious of all the characters, asking the questions they won't speak.
Manny, you've come a long way since we met, and I'll take full credit for that, but you need to let go of the past so you could have a future.
Sid's message is powerful. Manny got that last push to move on with his life. He'll never forget about his past family, but it doesn't still mean that he can't be with Ellie. Sid gets to hear Diego talk about how Sid really is an important member to the herd, especially what Sid has been doing for the whole movie, and Diego has overcome his fears, making a great ending to the film. The movie itself makes itself greater because it doesn't ruin the first movie or the characters. It expands on them, changes them, making it a great sequel. Well, that's all I got for today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.